All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my second to last stream for Kaiju number 8 as I catch up to the series. Let me go ahead and be specific as I say that. This will be the last lengthy one because after we get done with chapter 121, it'll just be. Hold on, let me check here. It'll just be one, two, three, four, five. Just 5 chapters to go through on our next reading next Monday, and then I'll be fully caught up with Kaiju number 8, and then the series will move to Thursdays. But let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another read-through of Kaiju number 8, where today we are going to be going through chapters 114 all the way to 121. And then after that, we just have 122 to 126, and then we're essentially done with catching up with Kaiju number 8. Now, in the last chapter, we had Kafka fighting against number 9, who turned out to be a very formidable adversary, being capable of repelling and defending himself from everything that Kafka was doing, including calling upon the powers of different kaiju that 9 has consumed and absorbed in order to not only combat Kafka, but also Mina, who joined the fight as well. Then it gets to a point where the only way Kafka is able to beat 9 is to essentially allow the kaiju side of him to essentially take over, him to go full Vasto Lorde, him to go full berserk, and in the process manages to permanently damage the core of number 9, essentially beating him, but not without 9 leaving a last bit of info saying that all the kaiju that was essentially within him, he basically kept under wraps. And since 9 is no longer keeping all of these other kaiju that he has consumed inside of his body and contained, it is now starting to lash out of his body, and we end chapter 113 with Kafka getting impaled through the chest by the Daikaiju of the Meireki Era, as 9 described. Let us begin with chapter... Well, actually, it didn't even want to load up the previous chapter I was at before. There we go. It pretty much has the Daikaiju at the end of chapter 113. It pretty much had the Daikaiju. Also, Hybrid, it is good to see you, as always. The Daikaiju of the Meireki Era essentially impales Kafka through the chest with Mina screaming his name. And that's the end of chapter 113. Onwards to chapter 114. And I guess we're going in a flashback. We're looking at a flashback as we see 9's history.
A frail kaiju with intelligence as its only claim. That was all I thought I was at first. I hid myself from humans and lived a quiet life.
And it shows 9 looking down on humans, watching them, and also eating different types of creatures in the forest, just essentially just opening his mouth up wide and eating a rabbit whole.
Until that one fateful day when I learned that I was stronger than humans.
And it shows 9 having apparently, chapter 114, Kaiju number 8, chapter 114, it shows 9 learning that not only is he stronger than humans, but this is also the first time that he uses finger guns to essentially kill another human. And it wasn't that long ago because this person, this doesn't look like it was that long ago because this person has like a hunting clothes on, like modern day hunting clothes. They got like a hunting rifle, but the rifle is bent out of shape because of 9.
Until that one fateful day when I learned that I was stronger than humans.
And it shows 9 covered in blood.
Ever since I started learning, I haven't been able to stop. What I'm capable of, what the human world holds. As I continued to amass knowledge, my curiosity grew, and I became obsessed with learning.
And 9 is also eating this guy's body as well. Man, I love animes when the main character has to become a monster to be the monster. Yeah, some of them pull him off quite nicely.
And then, as if I were being guided, I encountered that.
And the that he's referring to is the Daikaiju of the Meireki era. This is 9 meeting it for the first time. It's just a giant, massive kaiju inside this humongous cavern, and it's just filling up the cavern with how vast it is. Then we get back to Ichikawa, who's facing off against the Daikaiju that 9 sent, but all of them have stopped moving. They stopped?
Reno! They stopped moving over here! What about over there?
So it's the same for you, Yaru? That means...
The old man took out number 9!
Sir, you did... And then before he says you did it, it cuts back to Mina, who's looking at Kafka being impaled and lifted off the ground by the remains of 9.
Kafka!
Kaiju number 8's core is damaged! We're detecting a new kaiju reading from within number 9! What's going on here? Number 9's core was supposed to be destroyed, wasn't it? Estimated fortitude is... immeasurable! Just like number 9! However, the waveforms are completely different. This is... a totally different kaiju! And it shows Kafka being lifted in the air. And it shows Kafka, mind you, his berserker state is still going. It shows him being lifted in the air. And then blood shoots out of his mouth, and then Kafka's eyes light up immediately. And the kaiju within him is, just straight up rebelling and roaring and grabbing hold of the tentacle that's sticking in his chest and goes to punch him, just letting out this guttural, animalistic noise like... And then it zooms into 9's face, which then splits open. It splits open, and underneath 9's entire face, we see this wall of eyes just underneath. And then these symbols appear across Kafka's arm, and one of the eyes blinks, and then all of a sudden, Kafka's arm is literally sliced off of him all of a sudden. Just in a shower of blood, his whole arm is taken off. Not only that, but a giant fissure just erupts behind Kafka and tears through the city. And Kafka still berserk, mind you, his eyes are no longer white, they're just black now. And then those same symbols start to appear across his chest. And then the face blinks. And then a tear opens up directly across Kafka's chest. And it sends him flying. So fast, he tears through the building completely, shocking everyone about what just happened. And Kafka's laying in the rubble, just blood pooling from his entire body. His arm is bleeding profusely. His chest, where his core is bleeding profusely. His face is bleeding profusely, and he's not moving. And that same child that Kafka saved at the beginning is just looking with tears in her eyes. Then we get back to the science team. No. 8's vitals are undetectable. And everyone, even Itami, everyone, the higher-ups are just shocked to see that something like this just happened to Kafka and he's just been one-shot easily. Out of nowhere. That can't be. And then Mina screams, "Ammo drop to point F now! I'm going to shoot it before its limbs regenerate. Apache 5, provide ammo via aerial launch pod now! Roger that!" And before the helicopter pilot can even respond, Mina's gun gets sliced in half. Just instantly. And another fissure opens up from the point of her gun being sliced. It just tears across the city. This what is this thing? The thing is, it's blinking when it's doing this, and I know it because it blinked right before it cut Kafka and then sent him flying. This thing merely blinking is cutting apart the city. Just casually. And Mina gets caught up in the shockwave and she gets thrown to the side. And she's looking, and we see that number 9's body has apparently been completely taken over by this thing. It has regrown multiple limbs. It has like 3 extra sets of arms now. That's all standing in like a bodhisattva type fashion. We got arms above, we got arms to the side, and then we got others in front of it while its normal arms are just draped in front. And its eye, like the slit that came from number 9's face, that opened up, has now opened up beyond the face, down the body, all the way down to the seam of 9, when it's just eyes underneath. And then Mina's thinking back to when 9 tried to tell her that no one has ever escaped before.
No one has ever escaped. No matter the era. No matter how strong.
And then Mina starts aiming. Mind you, she has shards of debris sticking through her arm. And she aims her gun at this thing. And this thing is looking, and we see the symbols again, and the symbols go straight down Mina's face.
Not a single person in history.
And that's the end of chapter 114. This thing is aiming to kill Mina right now. Onwards to 115. And this thing is looking, and it's honing in on Mina. Chapter 115, and the symbols are across her face. This is bad. Retreat, Ashiro! Status on number 8. Vitals are still undetectable. And then it cuts back to 9 that has now apparently been subsumed by this creature now. He used to be in control, but now he's been absorbed instead.
Didn't I tell you, Mina Ashiro? No one has ever escaped. No matter the era, no matter how strong. Not even me. And certainly, none of you from the defense
And while it shows Mina while these eyes are locking onto her, and 9 stops because Mina has not lost that fire in her eyes, and that's confusing to him. Now I'm curious who would win, Kafka in his kaiju form or Eren in his Titan form. Now, are we talking about his attack Titan form, or are we talking founding Titan? Let's see where we end up with the latest chapter of Kaiju number 8, and we'll come back to this conversation. Feels like something is just sitting on my eye. It's been bothering me. But I'm fine, though. But Mina just still has that fire in her eyes.
What is that? Look in her eyes.
And it shows the symbol of the Defense Force on her clothes, Mina's face, and the uniform she's wearing.
It's always this way. There's one person who always helps me make up for my many flaws, who always clears the way to make it easier for me to operate. And when I hit a wall that I couldn't possibly bust down by myself, they are always there to blaze a trail for me.
And then it cuts to someone just cutting in front of Mina.
The ultimate adjutant.
Adjutant? That's a word.
The ultimate adjutant.
'Cause it shows Hoshina! Hoshina just showed up to help his captain, right behind Possessed 9.
Hoshina style. Sword slay technique number 6. Eightfold slasher!
And he just unloads the eightfold slasher directly on top of the creature. Itami's watching. The 2 little girls are watching. Everyone is watching as they chime in. Vice Captain Hoshina and Numbers Weapon 10 are on the scene!
They made it in time!
Behind you, Vice Captain!
And then it shows Hoshina standing there as those same symbols go across his back. That possessed 9 is floating in the air, and then Mina goes to shoot the creature, but it just dodges out of the way. I mean, it looks like it dodges out of the way.
Okonogi dear, Phase 2.
Roger! Apache 9, release all in pattern 7 to points F through G.
Number 10. This enemy's way worse than the one we just faced. We're gonna go all out from the get-go. Fool!
And then all of a sudden, we get every pod for Hoshina dropping around him. And 10 goes,
As if we'd go at this any other way!
And then Hoshina grabs his swords and he starts slashing. He unleashes like air slashes towards, what do we call this? Ascended 9? Or do we call this the you know what? Let's just call this the Meireki. Because he did say, like, they called this Mei, the Daikaiju of the Meireki era. So I'm just going to call it, until it has an official name, or until the chapters tell me what this is, I'm just going to call it the Meireki. So the Meireki's in the air, and while Hoshina is sending these cross slashes at it, it just closes its fingers. Like it's a Buddha. Like it's some ascended being with the way it's positioning all of its arms. It just does this, and all of a sudden, the slashes that were aiming towards this immediately dissipate around it, as if they hit a shield of some kind.
A shield? No. Just now, that was a...
And then we see the tail of the Meireki enlarge itself to gigantic proportions.
Son of a...
And then it shows Hoshina jumping out of the way as the tail slams into the ground and destroys a good portion of the city. Hoshina just managed to get away from this.
Each and every blow is fatal. Captain Ashiro, I'll take care of this guy. You tend to Kafka.
But this isn't a foe you can handle on your own.
Yes, I know. That's why I'd like you to authorize one more person to join the fray.
And then someone goes, "Oh, I know who this is!"
Authorize? Sure as heck can't let that slide.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that is not Kikoru. That is... Oh!
I'd like you to authorize one more person to join the fray.
Authorize? Sure as heck can't let that slide. I'm the captain of the 1st Division, this nation's key military division. Why would yours truly need to get authorization to join your little operation? Because the Meireki is looking in the direction of Captain Narumi! So we get Hoshina and Captain Narumi preparing to fight this incredibly powerful Meireki. Well, why would yours truly need to get authorization to join your little operation? Well, you rotten bowl-cut jerk. And then Narumi just puts his hair back as he's preparing to fight. And he's also kind of ticked off that Hoshina is treating him as if he's someone that needs authorization. But that's the end of chapter 115. Onwards to chapter 116. Let's go. Kaiju number 8, chapter 116. 4 years ago, 1st and 3rd Division joint training. And it shows Hoshina training while Narumi is watching him. From the moment I met him, I never liked him. And then Hoshina is saluting him, and then he turns away. He has the type of face that I hate. Looks just like him. Referring to Hoshina's actual brother. His actual brother. What is Soshido's actual brother? A rank and file officer from the 3rd Division, huh? And Narumi starts to look at Hoshina with those eyes of his and sees that the energy coming off of him is, as he says, he has a refined signal stream, not ranking fire level at all. And then it shows Hoshina training with some other people. Yeah, he's training with some other people, and then someone walks up to Hoshina while he's training going, "Hey, you, come to the first division." And this is Narumi and his team. Mind you, we got some people that look like, we got one dude that looks like he's Ozzy Osbourne, very tall, tallest one out of the group. Another one who's working on a Rubik's Cube. And of course, many other people with multicolored hair. That tends to be the norm for Captain Narumi's group, with Narumi's group. Come to the first division. And Hoshina, yo, D-Train, it's good to see you. We are currently on chapter 116 of Kaiju number 8. Things are getting good because Hoshina and Narumi are preparing to fight against the Meireki Kaiju. But it's good to see you. I am doing fantastic. Once I get done with Kaiju number 8, have some lunch, we are going to have my finale of Doom the Dark Ages. Because I'm going to be finishing the game today. Yeah, I'm going to beat Doom today. So it's going to be good. But come to the first division. The third division doesn't deserve you. I'll give you permission to use your talents in the strongest division as the arms and legs of yours truly. But me? In the first division? And then Narumi is smiling. He's doing this all like, come to the first division. You only have one choice here. Your best option in life is to join the first division and be the arms and legs of yours truly. And Hoshin is all like, me? In the first division? I'll pass. I've already decided who I'm going to be following. Okay then. And he just leaves Narumi standing there. Kind of embarrassed. I was so angry at you for turning down my offer. See you around. Huh? He turned him down? Seriously? Captain? Yikes, well this is embarrassing. And after gathering us all together. I'm excited for that. I'm off work today and I have all the time in the world. Nice. Gotta love being able to rest on a day off, huh? It's a nice day out too. Family took the dogs outside. Our lawn's been taken care of. It's nice outside. All I need is some food. All I need is some food. But continuing. I was so angry at you for turning down my offer. But he then went on to serve as the right-hand man of the 3rd Division captain. Why did he pick Ashino? And in a tasteless turn of events, he beat every single one of my close-quarters combat records. And we get back to the present. As, you know, Narumi is still thinking about all these things. And he goes, and then Hoshina goes, do try not to hold me back, Captain Narumi. Yeah, I really dislike this guy. Because Hoshina gives him that look as though like, don't hold me back, please. Despite the strength of Narumi. Then we get Mina looking as Itami and the other and Eye Patch are smiling. It's Narumi! Narumi is here! Everything's gonna be alright! And before that happens, the Meireki looks in Narumi's direction and sends another fissure shooting towards him. And then the Meireki's looking in one direction, and then it looks next to itself because Narumi is just standing next to it. I can see it all. Aye, bowl cut. And it shows Hoshina is behind the Meireki. I'm gonna cut him down and maybe you too in the process. Don't worry, I'll dodge it. And then Narumi and Hoshina just go towards the Meireki all of a sudden. Squadron style gun sword technique number 2. /salvo! And he unleashes the salvo directly on top of the kaiju while Mina is shielding herself from the updraft. When a captain class officer engages in combat at full release. No, wait, this is Kurusu going. When a captain class officer engages in combat at full release, the area is designated as a danger zone to officers with an unleashed combat power under 60%. The captain class officer's combat power reaches The captain class officer's combat power reaches the level of a Daikaiju, capable of engulfing other officers and killing them. That applies even more with Captain Naotomi, who turns into Kaiju number 1 and wields Japan's strongest combat power. There isn't an officer on Earth who could survive within a 100-meter radius of him. That's what I thought, at least. Despite these conditions, Vice Captain Hoshina... Mind you, both of these individuals are still bleeding from their fights from their respective Daikaiju that Nine had sent earlier. And yet they're already going to town and fighting. Because it shows Hoshina, whole salvo directly on top of him. And them just going to town fighting. This thing. Despite these conditions, Vice Captain Hoshina is freely performing moves within Narumi's domain. And it shows Hoshina in front of the Meireki, while Narumi screams, "Don't duck down now, Bolcut!" as he slashes in the direction of Narumi. And he slashes in the direction of Hoshina, who just casually ducks down, while the Meireki apparently either it phases through the attack, or it just disappears, or it just immediately moves at high speeds because it does the same thing to avoid getting hit by Mina. And Narumi is looking, and then he dashes from where he is straight towards the Meireki going, "Hoshina, who is that? He's crazy strong. Let me fight him too." Oh no, wait, that's 10. Sorry, that's Kaiju number 10 going, "Hoshina, who is that? He's crazy strong. Let me fight him too."
Quit your jabbering. That there is the one kaiju I want to go one-on-one with the least.
And it shows Narumi. Oh, right, he's asking. Okay, I get it now. He's asking about Narumi. "Hoshina, who is that? He's crazy strong. Let me fight him too."
Quit your jabbering. That there is the one kaiju I want to go one-on-one with the least.
And he's looking at Narumi, and Narumi has this visage as if he's a monster. Instead of having a face mask and actual irises, his eyes are white, his hair is wild, and it looks like he has teeth that are stitched together closed, like sharp teeth that are just being held closed by thread. Then we get another member of the science team going, "Amazing! Amazing! Incredible! This is a tag team of the Japanese Defense Forces Close Quarters Combat de facto Top 2! And then we get Hoshina, who manages to catch a glance over at Kafka.
Even if Kafka manages to survive, he's already spent. I can't let him fight anymore. Captain Naotomi and I will take on this guy and slay him. Number 6, 8-fold slasher, 7-branch sword."
And they both go to launch at the Meireki, and the Meireki catches both of their blades, all of their blades. Not even blocking it with its arms, it catches their blades in its fingertips. And it only uses 3 of its 8 arms. Because it uses one hand apiece to catch the blades of both Narumi and Hoshi. It's in the fingertips, okay? It's not like it's grabbing the whole blade. It's not like it's just stopping the whole blade with the palm of its hand. It is literally catching the blades in its fingertips. And this is a double spread panel where it just stopped everything. What? And then all of a sudden, the body of the Meireki, the eyes that were inside of Nine's body, starts to bulge and expand out of its body all of a sudden. And then we cut away from the fight to show Kafka floating through this domain. Darn it all. I can hear them fighting. I'm not done yet. Go back. Go back. I need to go back. And mind you, Kafka's eyes are open, but his irises are very hazy.
What you desire.
Huh?
Is continuing to fight what you desire.
Who are you?
Despite the severity of your wounds, you still desire to return to the battlefield.
Who are you? No, it doesn't matter who you are. That's my desire. I don't care what happens to me. I want to join Mina and my other teammates and fight. Oh, I thought this was like a kaiju creature, but no.
What you desire? He's continuing to fight what you desire. Despite the severity of your wounds, you still desire to return to the battlefield.
And then he says everything, and then we see the samurai. We see a samurai just standing there, the one that has the same mask that Kafka saw all those chapters ago, going,
I see.
No, wait, let me just go back here so we can have continuity. I want to join Mina and my other teammates and fight.
I see. Then come, in order to form a stronger connection with us.
And then there's this ting of energy that just pops up from Kafka. And that's the end of chapter 116. Onwards to chapter 117. YouTube needs to fix this app so that way I can better see comments that pop up. Kaiju number 8, chapter 117.
Then come, in order to form a stronger connection with us.
And then there's this like zing of lightning, and then we cut to Kafka, who is suddenly clad in samurai gear, surrounded by other samurai. Huh?
Charge!
And it shows all of these samurai just, I guess, back through the Meireki era, fighting kaiju, using nothing but spears, swords, and arrows.
What are you doing? You're in the way! Have you gone weak in the knees?
What is this? An ancient battlefield?
Charge! Charge!
Charge? With these primitive weapons? Every resource here is derived from kaiju, but without the aid of science, it's in a bare state. I learned from historical records that humans bonded directly with a kaiju body by using parasitic. I couldn't even say parasitic. I am so sorry. I learned from historical records that humans bonded directly with the kaiju's body by using parasitic kaiju tissue as a medium. This not only doesn't draw out much power, but also puts astronomical strain on the body, far more than in our era.
Watch out!
And then someone grabs Kafka and pushes them out of the way before a kaiju slams its fist down on them.
A yoju? What are you spacing out for? That's not like you.
What are you spacing out for? That's not like you. You're gonna make the Saru Squad captain weep. And Kafka is speaking with what appears to be someone that looks eerily like Hoshina. Vice Captain Hoshina? His ancestor? Tora Squad! Arrow fire from the left! Tori Squad! Keep leading it to the trench! And then everyone just keeps fighting as the kaiju falls over and topples onto a big old mass of spikes. It's down! Fire cannons! And everyone in the squad just starts firing cannons, just classic light a fuse cannons, directly into the kaiju. Holy crap! These people actually use this equipment to fight kaiju?
It was a day like any other. Slaying kaiju while sacrificing many of our own. Carrying out our harsh duty as we always did. Or so we thought.
And Kafka's eyes widen as suddenly an explosion happens behind all the other samurai that are behind him.
We were faced with that thing after it appeared from within a body, and we had no means to defeat it.
As Kafka looks and we see the Meireki Kaiju from back then. Apparently, this kaiju was inside the one that all these samurais were fighting, and it's shown itself. And apparently, it having multiple arms tends to be like a common characteristic for any other kaiju it takes over. So that explains why number 9 was able to manifest many arms from itself. That was from the Meireki itself.
We were faced with that thing after it appeared from within a body, and we had no means to defeat it.
Everyone, out of the way! I'll take this guy out! And then it just shows Kafka screaming, but all these samurai just get swatted away and cut to pieces as if they were literally nothing at all. Yo, hi Dragon, good to see you.
It didn't matter how fast a soldier was. It didn't matter how strong they were. It didn't matter that we had the swordsman, called the greatest in all creation.
And it shows that Hoshina's ancestor is getting impaled through the chest just like Kafka was, and held up in front of the Meireki's face.
It didn't matter that we had the swordsman called the greatest in all creation.
And it shows the kaiju basically about to eat Hoshina's ancestor.
No! All were equally decimated.
As the Meireki does that same cutting motion, and it cuts off Kafka's legs during this memory. And then the Meireki proceeds to just devastate the entire area all around them. And while Kafka is missing his legs in this memory, the kaiju stands up, and it roars, and it merely roaring destroys the whole area around it. Just roaring, it causes an earthquake that causes multiple sections of this entire battlefield to upheaval from its power. And Kafka is falling into the void after falling off of one of these cliffs.
Our comrades, the fields we worked so hard to tend.
And it shows all of their fields back then during this era were set on fire and completely destroyed by this kaiju.
The fields we worked so hard to tend. The homes we were supposed to return to. Our families.
And it shows that not only is a home burning, but in a very dark panel, we see a mother holding her child underneath the imprint of a kaiju footprint. So this kaiju stepped on this mother. Wow, this is a dark panel. It stepped on this mother and child and just killed them, crushing it underfoot, and they're left laying in the footprint itself.
The homes we were supposed to return to, our families. That creature stole all of it.
And while Kafka's falling, he falls into some more water again.
We were helpless.
Shame. The shame. I was trying to say shame.
The shame. The shame. The shame. The shame, the shame, the shame, the shame, the shame, the shame, the shame,
the shame. And they keep saying the shame over and over and over again as it's starting to grab on to Kafka over and 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 over again, is just covering him.
We were powerless.
And it starts to completely envelop Kafka. And then it starts to narrow more and more and more.
Like insects, we were powerless.
And all of these spirits of these samurai who died form into the very same creature that flew into Kafka and turned him into a kaiju. I have questions, and that is the end of chapter 117. I have questions! I have questions. And it shows this flying this little flying kaiju creature floating in the abyss along with Kafka.
We could do nothing.
Kaiju number 8, chapter 118.
Like insects, we were powerless.
And Kafka's there, one tear coming out of the eye, while the other side of his eye is also, both of his eyes are bleeding, but we still get one tear. And then Kafka is looking as Kafka goes,
The shame. The shame. That shame.
and it's that very same creature in this mindscape with Kafka, and its eyes are bleeding as well, and it just looks over at Kafka, still saying,
The shame. The shame. You're nearly 100 days. That's how long the great catastrophe lasted before the power that monster stored underground ran dry. Using my heart as a core, our grudge became a single mass, mingled with ley lines deep underground, and turned into a kaiju without a physical form of its own, just like that creature.
whoa, and the samurai takes off his mask, and an individual that looks exactly like Kafka is underneath. So is this Kafka's descendant?
Before you lie,
Or is it before you lies?
before you lies the twisted remnants of our grudge.
And then Kafka stands next to a kaiju apparently created from the grudge of the samurai who died to the Meireki.
Why did you show me this? You chose to fight, but you stand no chance against that creature as you are now. We need to form an even deeper bond, and truly become one with one another.
As the samurai puts his hand out, and we see a heart. Just a heart, like an actual human heart.
Is that? It's your heart. I planned on returning it after defeating the creature. However, now that we've lost the core, we have no choice but to convert this heart into a new core. You must make a choice. Accept this as your heart and revert to being a human, or turn it into a core and become a beast. Choose the latter, and you will become one with us. You will no longer be able to revert to being human. You'd go against the wishes of your caring friends, and end up betraying your younger self.
Oh no! Oh no! If he gets this heart back and goes back to being human, he'll lose. But if he turns this into a core, he'll permanently be a kaiju.
Do you still wish to fight?
And Kafka's not saying anything. I'm not looking at chat yet.
We did not want to force this choice upon you. I am very sorry.
Kafka's looking, and then Kafka looks at the grudge of the samurai.
We were the same all along. There were things you couldn't help with, and wishes that you couldn't make come true. You were frustrated and in agony, but you refused to give up, and fought all this time. Compared to the load you've been shouldering, what I've been carrying is a drop in the bucket. I was able to make it this far because of you. Thank you.
And while Kafka's touching the kaiju, the samurai, you can see the eye of the samurai underneath his mask. And then Kafka slaps his face and goes,
It's my turn to repay you. Let's go.
It's revenge match time. And then Kafka looks at the samurai, and the samurai goes,
There will be no turning back. Yeah, I don't mind.
I'll fight. And then, while the samurai is holding Kafka's heart, it crackles with energy, and then turns into a new core.
Then take it.
As he places it directly into Kafka's chest. And Kafka, while he's having it forced into his body, his face starts to change, and then this power just erupts with him to the point where his hair gets sent on all ends, his eyes are just pure white and crackling with energy. Energy is just crackling all around him. And this is where we end chapter 118. Onwards to chapter 119. Woo! Chapter 119. And then we have Kafka as he's taking in the kaiju core into himself completely now, just allowing it to happen. We just get the words, the shame, the shame, the shame, as Kafka's body starts to change. His teeth are starting to become sharp. The shame, the shame.
Will he be able to contain a grudge spanning 400 years?
Come on, let's go kick his behind. I'll shoulder the entire burden! And then Kafka's arm in real time starts to move. It twitches, and Mina notices.
He moved? What are Officer Hibino's vitals?
Still no response. According to this, he's already...
Did I imagine that? No. The 1st Division's report stated that once Kafka lost consciousness in his fight with Director General Shinomiya, he automatically reverted to human form. The fact that he's still transformed after all this time is unnatural. I'm sure Kafka hasn't given up.
And there's an explosion behind Mina in the distance, because remember, Narumi and Hoshina are still fighting the Meireki.
Hoshima! Hoshina!
I said Hoshima, my bad.
Hoshina! Narumi!
And then we get Karasu. Numbers Weapon 1, output down 15%. Numbers Weapon 10, output down 12%. It won't be long until they overheat. And they're still fighting it. Hoshina, attack! These things... Oh wait, this is 10 going, Hoshina, attack! Things are getting worse!
Yeah, I know. Their attacks are incomprehensible. Captain Narumi has been foreseeing and diverting them, so I've managed to avoid taking any direct hits. The key to this fight is Number 1's retina. And it cuts to Narumi, who's still fighting the Meireki, but Narumi has yet to do any lasting damage against the Meireki. That's strange. I'm reading their signals, but they're fending off attacks that should be sure hits. On top of that, my future sight doesn't work when multiple futures unfold. This thing still has more to it. And while he's looking at this, while he's looking at the Meireki, while looking at the body of the Meireki and trying to analyze it and see through it, he sees all the visages of every single kaiju that is within the Meireki. So that's what it was. New analysis data from Numbers Weapon 1. What is this? The signal source in the kaiju's body are in the tens, no, the hundreds. There's no way he can read all of those. And Narumi is still fighting. As while the Meireki tries to block a strike, Hoshina's sword manages to go underneath the arm and goes across his chest. He read it. That guy really is the biggest monster. Oh wait, he read it. That guy really is the biggest monster around. And this is Hoshina. As he's looking at Narumi still fighting against the Meireki, and we still see they're landing hits, but they're not doing anything. We're hitting him. Captain Narumi's efforts to chip away at him worked. You don't have enough force in your attacks, Bowcut! You don't have enough force in your attacks, Bowcut! That's my line. You're exhausted, aren't you? Only a few seconds till we overheat. This is probably our last chance. Number 7. 12-layered strike! I'll give it my all!
And they both scream as they let off their last attacks against the Meireki. But then Narumi, blood starts shooting out from his eyes and from his mouth. Hoshina notices too. And his eye goes dark. And then Karasu just goes, he's overheated.
Has he hit his limit?
And then all of a sudden, Narumi smiles like a crazy person, and his eyes turn back on. Like his numbers one eyes just turned off because he apparently overheated. And then they just turn back on while more blood pools from his face. A control override! This is too much! You're going to fry your brain!
Then so be it!
And then it's just quiet as Karasu is remembering back with Director General Isao. It's just like what happened with Director General Shinomiya. That one time. I'm the go-between. Even if I meet my end... Oh, wait. No, wait, this is Nanami going, I'm the go-between. Even if I'll meet my end today, the next soldiers in line are more than prepared. I'll buy them as much time as I can, even if it's only a second, and grab any information I'm able to from this thing. And then it shows Narumi. It shows Narumi as he continues to fight. All I have to do is take the baton you passed to me and hand it off to the next in line. Isn't that right, Mr. Isao? As he says this, Narumi tries to bring an attack directly on it until Narumi gets stabbed in the chest by the Meireki, surprising everyone. And Hoshina just goes, oh no, even if he can spot the attacks, his body can't keep up anymore. And while Hoshina is distracted, the tail of the Meireki slams directly into Hoshina and sends him flying. It sends him flying. And after looking at Hoshina, it then looks over at Narumi. As we see Narumi's bleeding face, his retinas turned off, his number one retinas turned off, and then it sends out a signal as the symbols appeared straight down Captain Narumi. And Karasu can't even say Captain as he screams out, Captain Narumi! And then Narumi just goes, I passed it. As Nanami looks to the side, because Kafka comes flying in! Woo! Kafka comes flying in all of a sudden with extreme speed. We just see Kafka as a small dot, and then all of a sudden he's directly in front of the Meireki. And the Meireki's just looking before Kafka lands a solid punch directly into its side. It's round 2! And then Narumi just goes, show me your skills, Kafka Hibino. That's a solid hit. He hit this thing so hard, it just raised everything around them. Oh! It's so good! To be continued. Onwards to chapter 120. We're almost done. We are almost done. And there's some illustrations. Yeah, there's some illustrations here. Let me go past this. These are some nice illustrations, though. Very nice illustrations. All right, chapter 120. We're almost done. We're making very good time, everybody. Pardon me. And then we cut to we go to the Star of Hope born in the pits of despair, Kafka Hibino. Chapter 120. I'm heading out, Mina. And Mina just looks absolutely shocked as we see her next to the spot where Kafka was. Then we cut to the Meireki that is suddenly bleeding from its face, while Kafka is hitting this thing directly in its side, and it's just destroying everything around them. And then we get Hoshina, who manages to get, stand up just a little. And then we get Nanami going, I'll pass the baton. Show me your skills, Kafka Hibino. And mind you, he just got impaled through the chest. He forced his body to overheat and override the control to activate his power again. And he's still smiling like a madman because he knows things are about to go down!
Show me your skills, Kafka Hibino.
And then it shows the Meireki being launched a little bit, like skidding to a stop as it's looking in the direction of Kafka, and Kafka's just standing there, smoke smoldering off its body, just giving the Meireki, you know you're about to die, right? Just standing there menacingly. Kaiju number 8 is back in the front line. Is back on the front line. What in the world is this? I'm certain he had no vital signs. Then we get Itami.
It's a miracle. That's the only way I can explain it. However, that doesn't mean the tables have turned in our favor.
As it cuts to the Meireki blinking in the direction of Kafka, having already put 2 symbols across his chest. And it cuts Kafka in the chest. Kafka's not moving, though. Mind you, everything behind Kafka is erupting behind him. He just got cut in the chest. And he's tanking it. This makes me so much more upset that the first Kaiju number 8 game we're getting is a squad-based, turn-based gacha. This should be a Muso, or this should be like a game like Granblue Fantasy Relink. I told you guys, Granblue Fantasy Relink is a blueprint that every future anime game should take a page from if you want to make a really good property game. I'm just saying, but just seeing Kafka, he's standing there and tanking the slashes.
That Kaiju has the power advantage after all.
As it shows, Kafka, his core is exposed, and all of a sudden, his body instantly heals. No, it's not like, oh, it just goes like, shoo. No, it's just, his chest is open, and it just goes, and is closed. Instant regeneration. And everyone is just shocked to see that Kafka is not only fine, but he just regenerated this damage instantly.
What the heck?
What did you do, Kafka?
There's something different about him.
And then Kafka just goes,
I know. I'll unleash you soon. Just calm down.
And then while he's standing there, Hoshina sees something strange as the ghosts of the samurai start to come out of Kafka. They're visible, and they start to swirl around Kafka, breaking the ground. They're physically there, and they start breaking the ground around Kafka. And then we get a flashback.
On that day, the first one to notice that kaiju was me. I reported the sighting. That was all I could do. That, and only that.
And it shows Kafka as a child watching as his town is destroyed by a kaiju. And now I'm going to use Kafka's normal voice.
Back then, if I had been a captain with a 99% unleashed combat power, or a master blade wielder and the strongest sharpshooter around, or a superhero with a 10,000 kaiju kill count, if I hadn't just been a helpless child, the house that my dad took out loans to have built, the stationery store where my grandma brought me a pencil case that doubles as a game.
That's actually a good grandma.
The karaage chicken shop that my mom worked at part-time. The octopus park where I fought those guys in 3rd grade. The game system that I finally got my parents to buy me.
He had a BS2.
And Mina's calico. I could have saved them all and given us a different future. I couldn't forgive myself.
And then it shows adult Kafka standing behind child Kafka going,
I know you don't want to go through any of that ever again. The path I chose after I grew up isn't what you envisioned, but at the very least, I'm going to go out there and fight in a way that makes you proud.
And then he walks past child Kafka, but then child Kafka grabs him and then gives him that same reassuring smile. But it's more like a and then Kafka looks, and they both just stand there, and Kafka's looking at his younger self smiling. And they both go, "Let's go!" And then it cuts to Kafka as he's standing there, and then Hoshina and Mina and Nanami are just watching as apparently Kafka's mask starts breaking? Oh! And underneath, we get a brand new look for Kafka's kaiju form. I tell you what, I'm so glad I never looked into anything kaiju number 9 related, because this reveal... He's evolved! He's evolved! He's evolved! And that's the end of chapter 120. Last chapter, chapter 121. And then the last reading I have for Kaiju number 8 before I fully catch up to the series will be next Monday. But now we have a brand new look for Kafka. Chapter 121. Shocking everyone. Kaiju number 8 is changing form! What are these waveforms? It's neither kaiju nor human. It's a totally unknown form! Kaiju just had his final Getsuga Tensho moment. He's gone beyond human, and he's gone beyond kaiju. He's got a whole brand new look. It's that black armor he had on before, that black carapace. The skin he had on before has now gone completely white. He's completely white now, with like black underlines across his body, and he has multiple eyes going up against his new face horns and everything. It's a totally unknown form! Unable to measure fortitude! Which means it's OVAS 10.0, and impossible to neutralize with our current technology. We've entered a domain where measuring fortitude itself is rendered meaningless, as their mere emergence means the ends of human civilization. And we have not one but 2 kaiju of that nature before us. If number 8 were our enemy, humanity would truly be... And then Kafka speaks. I'm sorry. And Mina hears this, and so does Hoshina. The shockwaves from my transformation ended up breaking 2 drones. And that is what Kafka is sad about. His transformation broke 2 drones from the Defense Force. And everyone's shocked to hear something so human come out of something that looks well beyond even kaiju. But Mina's listening in, and she's just smiling to herself. And Kafka continues. I racked up this debt. I'll be sure to work it off. As Kafka looks, he's got like a whole curving crest around his face now. Ooh, he looks so cool! I'll be sure to work it off. That's Kafka, all right. But what is that form he's taken on? It's not the same as when he goes berserk. There's no mention of it in the 3rd Division's data. Don't tell me he... And then Hoshina goes, don't tell me he... I can see them. And then it just shows Kafka standing there as he's standing on what it looks to be like this fleshy, bubbling surface, I guess, in his head. The emotions endlessly gushing out. Resentment, hatred, regret, rage. For number 8, they serve as an energy source. An inexhaustible, pitch black fuel. And then Kafka immediately starts powering up, staring at the Meireki. And the Meireki notices something as it can see all of the samurai that fought it within Kafka. And it starts laughing. It starts chuckling to itself. They're laughing? And then it stops laughing, and all of the irises in its eyes disappear, and it too explodes with power and launches at Kafka. The spines are a reference to Godzilla. I mean, that same can be said for any kaiju that has spikes on its back, so I don't think it's a major reference here. But then again, looking at Kafka's back, they are maple-shaped. So, maybe it truly is a Godzilla reference. Because they have that maple leaf shape to them, just like Godzilla does. Huh, that might be the case. Okay. But then the Meireki, after exploding with power, it launches at Kafka. Kafka sees this, and the Meireki hits Kafka in the face. The mere shockwave breaking the ground, breaking the entire district. I was going to say break the ground, but I meant to say district. This one punch from the Meireki is so massive that it not only destroys the entire city block they're in, but also destroys every other building around it just from the shock of the punch. This is even larger than the punches of 9. And everyone is shielding themselves, including Naotomi, who is, okay enough. And while the Meireki is looking, Kafka just goes,
"Hey, we'll get everyone else wrapped up in this if we stay here. Move back to that transmission tower back there."
And mind you, Kafka literally just got punched in the face, and though he's bleeding, he is literally doing, and the Meireki goes, "Ah!" as Kafka does exactly what Ichigo did, and punches and forces it's going to do the same thing that Ichigo did. Kafka punches the Meireki directly in the face, denting it in, sending the Meireki flying to the transmission tower immediately. And then Kafka just goes,
"Okay, I suppose I should get going then."
And Kafka just all he's doing is just flexing his shoulder. We have evolved Kafka now. We have an evolved Kafka now. That's the end. That's the to be continued. That's the end of chapter 121. We have an evolved Kafka. A new kaiju form. And it just basically knocks the Meireki in a hole, all the way to where he says, like, yeah, this is just like Ichigo forcing Aizen back, saying, like, "I don't want to do this here, Aizen. Let's go someplace else." And Aizen was all like, how bold of you to think that you could decide anything. But don't worry, I'll kill your family and everything else. And then just Ichigo grabs his face and then shoves him all the way into the far distance before Aizen could even react to it. This is Kafka's let's not fight here moment. And he's all like, "Yep, okay. Guess I should get going then." He sends this thing flying so hard it goes into the transmission tower, breaking the ground while this kaiju's flying, and he's all like, "Okay. All right, you about to get these hands now." This is the strongest we have ever seen Kafka, and he's just getting started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we only have like a handful of chapters left. And since it doesn't show that another chapter is going to be dropping this month, it would say so. I would want to assume we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters left before I fully catch up to Kaiju number 8, which will be perfect timing because once I get done, the following Monday will be the start of me reading Solo Leveling's light novel. And also the same week, I get my Switch. So June is going to be very interesting. But if I don't see anyone else here who's watching me here today, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in to this reading of Kaiju number 8. Only 5 more chapters to go before I fully catch up with the entire series. And then I'm going to be doing some Kaiju number 8 deep diving. Because I have kept away from anything Kaiju number 8 related just to ensure that I don't get spoiled on anything. And it's pretty much gone fine. It's gone fine thus far. So overall, this has been very good. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you for all the support. I really hope you enjoyed what I did here today, because this is how I read my stories. Dramatic voices and dramatic readings abound. It's just how I do things. But thank you for stopping by. It means the world to me, and you make this channel better if you stick around. I'm just saying. But thank you. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Well, let me just say this before I give my outro. This was a good series of chapters. This was very good. Hoshina teaming up with Narumi. Nanami pushing himself to the brink. The Meireki showing power beyond anything that Narumi and Hoshina can actually fully combat against. The strongest close quarters combat soldiers within the JDF. And the Meireki is just trivializing them. Until Kafka decides, you know what? If I'm going to be stuck as a kaiju forever, at least I'll be able to save everyone and be the hero. Gives up his own ability to return to being human just so he can fight this thing, while making himself apparently permanently a kaiju. And not only that, but he's also fully evolved as well. His state that we've seen him with, all that power we've seen from Kafka, that's about to increase 100-fold. Kafka is neither kaiju nor human. He has gone even further beyond. And I can't wait to see what the most recent 5 chapters, and coincidentally, chapter 121 was actually some of the chapters I read. Chapters 120 and 121 were chapters of Kaiju number 8 dropped this year. So all we have left is 1 chapter from February, 2 chapters from March, 1 from April, and 1 from earlier this month in May. So I can't wait to see where the story ends up and what direction it goes in after Kafka has entered this new, even more powerful state. But we'll cover that next Monday. Thank you for everything. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. I can't speak. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. So have a fantastic... let me see this. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to enter... You know, sometimes my outros just throw me off. You know, they throw me off sometimes. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.